Today, most cameras are better than most photographers. Now, I'm not trying to hate on anybody, so why do I say this? I say this because I see that in the world of photography, there is this strange and unhealthy obsession with things that don't matter to photography. Or they do matter in theory, but they don't really matter in practice. So this video, you could call it a bit of a reality check maybe a bit of a kick up the backside, not to spend so much time on the things that don't matter. That is, if you want to get better as a photographer, if you want to grow as a photographer. And yeah, by the way, I am on this beautiful farm turned camping in, the southwest of Brazil. Beautiful area in general. And if you're going to be hearing some weird sounds in the background, those are birds or animals. So now, when it comes to camera tech, many of us want more and more. But let me show you some photos. Some of my first photos, actually. So they're from quite a while back. I've included the camera models that these photos were made with. If you want, you can Google these models to see the specs. These specs were enough back then, and they're enough now too. Most photography enthusiasts will not even push these cameras to their limits. I've printed some of these photos, large, and in reality, for most people's needs, which is just showing the photos online, 8 megapixels is enough. I even printed 8 megapixel photos at 20 by 30 inches. Pretty big, and the 8 megapixel images were barely enough, but the point is that they were enough. Did you know that the majority of the cameras from all of the well-known brands over the past 3 years are good enough for most things that you could ever imagine? But I still get the occasional comment just trashing some camera that I mentioned, and I certainly expected that for the video that I posted about the best surprise travel camera a couple of weeks ago. And I remember one particular viewer was especially critical of this camera, saying that the dynamic range is poor, the quality of pretty much everything is poor. So I'm like, what kind of photography do you do, man? Are you making the finest of fine art prints? What is it that you want from a camera? I think it's more about this weird obsession with the capabilities of cameras and lenses. Though most of us will never make large prints, we want more megapixels. Even though we never look at the photos from really close up, we want edge-to-edge sharpness. We want great colors right out of the camera, though we edit virtually all of our images. And so many of us, we want to know more about the gear, about these capabilities, about what we could do in theory. Then we want to know about getting better at photography. Just observing my own channel, I uploaded that video about the best camera setup, so a gear-related video, and bam, most viewed video that I've had in ages. Then I post free in-depth lessons, knowledge that's taken from my latest photo course on visual communication. Methods that took me a decade to develop and to refine. These are ideas that I think are huge to your growth as a photographer. They're huge for photography in general, and relatively few views on YouTube. Of course, it totally could be that I'm doing something wrong. I'm not a marketer or a designer. Maybe I'm missing something. So if you see any obvious flaw in the way that I am communicating the importance of these ideas, then please let me know in the comments. Maybe some of you are into conspiracy theories and you think that the mysterious YouTube algorithm is purposefully pushing the gear-related videos rather than anything else. I think it's likelier that the photography crowd, or the photography crowd maybe on YouTube, who are kind of general photo enthusiasts, kind of surface level photographers perhaps, they probably comprise most of the audience, and they are far more interested in gear than they are interested in becoming better photographers. And so this is one big reason why today most cameras are far better than most photographers. Speaking of getting better as photographers, of learning, those in-depth lessons that I mentioned, I'm actually sharing a short series of them. They'll help you master what I truly think is the most important thing in travel photography: visual communication. There are 3 videos in total. 2 I've already uploaded, and you can get the links to them in the description and at the end of this video. Now, my new course, it's even more in-depth, and it's all about being able to really express yourself visually. I take what seem like complex and difficult concepts and I make them incredibly accessible. If you want to make better, more evocative photos, photos that stand out, that touch people, then you may want to check out this course. So, a bit of perspective for you in this video, I hope. It would be such an incredible waste to watch all of those hours of gear-related videos and a waste of money to buy the gear if you are not actually creating compelling photos. If you're not really pushing that gear to its limits, if you're not pushing yourself, ask yourself, do you really need a new camera that has more power than you'll actually ever use? Or is it time to maybe pause and self-reflect? Take a closer look at some of your photos. See if what you're missing is maybe in fact more practice or knowledge. Watch these 2 videos that are on the screen now. They'll help you master visual communication, and tune in on Tuesday for the final video of the series. It'll focus largely on composition, but not in the same way that you've already heard 100 times before. That's it from me. See ya.